Good morning, natural gas. It's Tuesday, June the 16th, 2026. I'm Tim Beggins, president of Elk Trading Company. And for the spot July contract, we're currently trading at 318.30, up 3.6 cents or 1.14%. Now, as you can see, the RSI is trying to turn to the upside. It is still hanging around the 13 and 48 period exponential moving averages. So let's turn to the pivot system on the hourly chart. And as you can see, we're holding above the daily pivot, which came in at 310 and 9 ticks. We are currently pressing up against first resistance at 3201, and the RSI is trying to turn to the upside. Why is it doing this? Well, weather across the south is doing well, and so is LNG. But we've got tropical developments we'll talk about later. Let's turn to the overseas markets, and this is JKM. This is in Japanese yen. But here's the point. Because the Iran war may be over, we're down 6.27% here today. How about TTF, the marker for the Europeans, down 9% today. So everything is turning lower with the headline. So crude down, TTF down, JKM down, but not natural gas. And here's why. Natural gas here for ERCOT right now, as you can see, the load is lower with all the rain we're getting across the coast here. We're going to talk about that tropical development, but look what's happening here. Wind is very, very low today. Some parts of it are going to be down only about 2,500 megawatts. As a result, natural gas is gaining some market share this morning. As you can see, it's over 51% here of the fuel mix this morning. And let's turn to the national grid because temperatures are okay. Everything is muted here. You can see PJM is just going to get over $60 today, about $66 at peak. SPP about 61. Again, same thing, 40, 50, $60 here. There's not much movement in the power markets. That's good for consumers. And here's why. Because the 8 to 14-day temperature outlook, again, it is around Chicago here. As you can see, the above normal temperatures are in the interior west and Florida. The below normal temperatures are between St. Louis and Chicago. And speaking of that corridor, there's going to be some very bad weather there in the next few days. And let's take a look at the heat risk map here. As you can see, it is going to be pretty warm out in the interior west parts of Florida, especially here. We start seeing some extreme temperature risk here starting tomorrow. Over 351,000, mainly in Florida, Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, into Kansas, and parts of the interior west. This continues through Thursday, now starting to push up the East Coast, up into Virginia toward Washington, D.C. And then we start seeing some, again, extreme temperature risk here for about 500,000 people. And then, as you can see here, out to June 22nd, what are we seeing for the pattern? Texas, all the way across the south, is starting to get fairly warm. So let's take a look at the weather models for the June 23rd forward period here. As you can see, this is June 22nd. This is the GFS model, and GFS has been running warmer than the European model. But let's take a look as we go through the forecast period here. We start seeing some warmer temperatures across the entire interior west and across the south and southeast. So this is pretty warm, as you can see here. This is the 26th. We go through the 27th here. Oops, it's going backward. So let's go through the 26th here, 27th. As you can see, look at this warm temperature starting to dominate the eastern half of the United States. So if the GFS model is correct, we start seeing 99-degree temperature readings up in Virginia here. As we get into the next day, we start seeing hundreds across the southeast, Texas, parts of that is like Dallas here, 97, 95 in Houston, up into Oklahoma and Kansas into the hundreds, also in the desert southwest up into the upper 90s. So we'll see if this holds here. What about the LNG markets? Well, U.S. LNG is expected to be about 18.5 BCF demand for feed gas today. That's good news. We'll show you why. But what else is going on? Well, if the Iran war is over, then Qatar starts coming back online with about 50% of capacity within 2 months, 80% in possibly 6 months. We'll see if those numbers are real. But here we have the Al Salah LNG tanker loading up at Ras Laffan. And as you can see here, we start to see some movement through the Strait of Hormuz, but there are still traffic jams going through. We'll see if this starts to clear in the next week or two. And let's turn to the U.S. LNG markets. This is Cameron here at 1.435 out of 1.56. So it's about 92% capacity. That's still good news, running steadily here. Here is Creole Trail. This is feeding into Sabine Pass. This is one of the pipelines, about 93% of capacity here. This is also good news. Corpus Christi, same kind of thing here. Well, running here almost up to nameplate capacity. How about Freeport? Well, looking back here, we're running at about 1.8 across the entire space here for Freeport at a 2.5 BCF capacity. So let's take a look at Trans-Cameron. This is feeding Calcasieu Pass. Venture Globals still has some capacity open. And as usual, Plaquemines is running slightly over nameplate capacity, so over 100%. And here's the good news for Golden Pass LNG. It's running over 500,000 MMBTUs. Again, the capacity for Train 1, 800 to 850,000 MMBTUs. So good news here, it's starting to ramp up yet again. And here's the weather, and it is raining. This development here across the coastline from Mexico into Texas, if it develops, will be called Arthur. That would be our first tropical system of 2026. And here it is right now, Invest 90-L. As you can see, it's inland right now, just up to the north and west of Brownsville, south of Corpus Christi. It is bringing a ton of rain across the Texas coast. It is absolutely soaking wet here, flood risk across the entire Houston area. And here it is on the satellite picture. As you can see from this morning, these thunderstorms are developing, picking up all of this warm water moisture here and dumping it inland. And here is the spaghetti plot. This is the tracking for this particular storm. And it is looking right now very confidently. It's going to be moving up the coast, possibly getting offshore. That would make it a tropical system here. Again, that would be called Arthur if it spins up and gathers some wind speed. It is going to come across Houston here and then up into Louisiana. This is good news because we've still got a drought in the upper Louisiana into Arkansas. That would help them out tremendously. And let's take a look at the mid-Atlantic. This is the Saharan air layer, or dust here. And as you can see, another large plume is coming off the coast and heading toward Central America. And let's take a look at the U.S. nuclear fleet. We've only got 1.2 gigawatts offline today. That is amazing. It is only about 4 units that have slightly some outage here. Fermi at 17%, the rest are below 6%. So the U.S. nuclear fleet is running almost at 100%. And let's take a look at the stocks. Well, because of the news, everything is down except for CRK and CNX right now. Let's take a look here, updated again. Yep, we're still pretty much the same. So slightly neutral here, slightly down for Crescent and BKV. Overall, it is sitting unchanged. So recapping again for the July natural gas contract, we're currently trading at $3.1890, up 4.2 cents or 1.33%. LNG is running about 18.5 BCF. U.S. production about 110 BCF. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.